Okay, so for tonight's practice, it's actually been the practice, I think, for a little while for me. So I've talked before about the 8 limbs of yoga, so I'm not going to talk your ear off about them, but just a little review that they're sort of like these guidelines to how you practice yoga. So the first limb is the yamas and niyamas, so they're kind of like the do thises and don't do thatses, and so there's 10. So some people equivocate it to the Ten Commandments. But the first of that is called ahimsa. And so anytime in Sanskrit you see an ah before like a consonant, so himsa means harm and ah means no, don't harm. So that's the first one. And I like to always kind of start there because a lot of people say if you really just kind of started off with that tenet of being kind, everything else just sort of falls into place, this whole guideline that they have of these 8 limbs and these 10 commandments, if you will. One of these yamas and niyamas is called aparigraha. So parigraha is grasping or holding, and then the is no, don't do that. Don't hold, non-grasping, non-attachment, non-holding. And this has been where I've been at for a while as we are like entering the final weeks of our session, and I don't know when I'm going to be back teaching again. So our whole practice tonight is going to be focused on that whole concept of just letting go. So it shows up in different ways. So it could be actual things, like if you're hanging on to that elementary school drawing that you did and you don't really know why, like maybe it's time to let it go. Or if you've got, the garbage in your car and maybe it's time to clear out the clutter, and maybe there's some garbage in your brain and it's time to clear that out too. So it's all about letting go. So one of my favorite mudras and go-to gals is Kali, so we'll be incorporating that, and she is the goddess that's known for allowing you to identify what you need to let go of and do it. So she carries a head in one hand and she's got a sword in the other, and it's supposed to be like that symbol of slicing the ego away from ourselves. So it's really kind of gory. Like, not gonna lie. She also has a necklace of heads. Like, she's got a lot of heads. Like, you just don't mess with her, okay? So, but her whole symbolism is this idea of being really strong and fierce with your convictions and going forward and letting stuff go. So why don't we start with a little bit of movement, and we'll keep on with this theme of letting go, and we'll see how things follow. So let's bring the fingertips to the tops of the shoulders, and we'll just start to make some circles with the elbows. So you might want to start with smaller circles and then kind of work your way up to bigger circles, or you might be fine to start off with really big circles. We'll do a couple more in this direction. As we make these circles, just also be aware of your core. So that sense of the bottom ribs pulling together, supporting the lower abdomen, lower back. All right, let's switch directions now and go in our butterfly pose for those of you that like swimming. Just getting the whole of the shoulder joint warmed up. And then we'll do a little front crawl, so alternating. And with this, you can kind of get that rib cage moving from side to side, so it's almost like a little upper back twist. Good. And we'll go ahead and switch directions and do our backstroke. Getting everything all nice and warmed up. Awesome. All right, let's drop the hands down. Take a big breath in, lift the shoulders up towards the ears, and just keep lifting, lifting, lifting. It's not a super squeeze, it's more of a lift. And then exhale and let the shoulders drop down. Nice. Okay, so let's find our mudra. So Kali Mudra. We interlace the fingers. So the pinky finger of the right hand starts on top of the left, and you make your way across. The right thumb rests over the left, and then we point out the pointer fingers. Point out the pointer fingers. And I'll just come really close just so you can see as well. There we go. All right. And then we just kind of let the elbows hang loosely by your side. You can close your eyes if you like. And so the point is sort of representative of Kali's blade, that knife that separates us from our ego. And it's also associated with the throat chakra. So you point the fingers kind of upwards toward the throat. And just let your shoulders relax. Just kind of tap into your breathing as you hold this mudra. So the Kali mudra is said to correlate with the throat chakra, and the throat chakra is often associated with the ability to communicate, but it's also about purification. So coming into that idea of letting go. So when things are purified, we get rid of what we don't need. So you can think of refined gold and ourselves as that golden self. It's also associated with the movement of the vayus, of the energy of air in the upward portion of the body. So from the center of the chest around the thyroid, swirling up through the neck and around the head. So it's very energizing. So to be activating of the thymus gland. And also in that activation, it's also helping us to find that inner courage to not only identify the things that we can let go of, the things that no longer serve us, but to actually follow through and let them go. So take another few breaths here, just watching your breath, noticing what you notice. And as you take the next few breaths, just imagine the breath is traveling from the tip of the tailbone on the inhale all the way up to the crown of the head. And as you breathe out, it's traveling all the way back down from crown, out the tail, into the earth. So that breath in, inviting in that inner strength. And the breath out, letting go. Releasing all that no longer serves. Breathing in confidence. Exhale, letting go. And as you follow the breath, something might come to you as something that you can let go of. It could be a fear. It could be a physical item. What's holding you back? And it's okay if nothing comes to you. You can still focus on the breath and just inhale that invitation to be strong and courageous. And exhale that courage to let go. Let's take 2 more breaths here. With your next exhaling breath, you can flutter the eyes open if they were closed and let your hands come down. All right, let's find a little movement. We'll come into our tabletop position. So hands and knees, and if being on your hands and knees doesn't feel comfortable tonight, just stay seated. So if you're on your hands and knees, fingers are spread nice and wide, shoulders are over the wrists, knees under the hips, toes tucked or not. And we'll set ourselves up to find some cats and cows. So that inhaling breath, belly drops down, shoulders draw back, chest lifts. Exhale, making some space between the shoulder blades. Following your rhythm, your degree of stretch through the back and front. And settle yourself into a rhythm that feels good for your body. Well, maybe it's letting go of any shoulds that you might have, letting go of perfection and just dropping into how things feel rather than how they look. Let's find another 2 rounds of our cows and cats. Good. And the next time that we find that cat pose, we'll make our way back into a neutral table position. And from here, we'll find our thread the needle. So let's go ahead and reach the left arm out to the left and just reach the fingertips up. As you press down through that right hand, see if you can reach the left arm up nice and high, big full breath in. And as you exhale, sweep it down. Come on and land all the way on that left shoulder, maybe finding some support underneath the head. Options here, you can keep that right hand where it is, maybe palm down or tenting through the fingers. You can reach the right hand forward. You can reach it up towards the sky. You can find a half bind if that feels appropriate. All these different variations. And if being on your knees, this isn't working, we take the arm across and catch the forearms. So we're really trying to settle in here to finding a place of comfort, where you feel a sense of stretch through the back of the shoulder without causing any pain or discomfort to the neck or any other part of the body. And we'll see if we can let go of any sense of the muscles being tight or holding or trying. So letting go of all effort and just allowing that weight of the upper body to just sink into that shoulder. Okay, so we'll stay another 2 breaths here. If you went ahead and reach that right arm behind, return it to that original position. Spread the fingers wide, press into the hand and inhale the left arm to reach up and just hold that there for another couple of breaths. So reaching that wingspan up, opening through the front of the left chest, and then exhale, drop the left hand back down. Good. Let's find the other way. So reach the right arm out on that breath in. Hold it there for a moment. Press down through the left hand. Reach up through the right. Exhale to dive it under, landing on the shoulder. Offering yourself support under the head for the comfort of your neck. And offering yourself the opportunity to find that seated variation if this just doesn't feel comfortable on this side. So letting go of being different and allowing yourself to do what feels best for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. Finding that way of being that feels good for you. So as before, if you like to leave the left hand where it is, go ahead. You can reach it forward, reach it up, find a half bind. You decide, where would it feel best for your body this evening? And just know that what you did on one side might not feel the same on the other, and it might not feel comfortable on one side compared to the other, and that's okay. We're letting go of that attachment to how things should be and settling into how they actually are. We'll take another few breaths here. If we found that half bind, bringing the left hand back down to its original position, pressing into the hand, reaching the arm up. Taking a couple breaths here, just enjoying that big wide wingspan. Good, and then exhale, flip the hands down. We're gonna make our way into our first downward dog. So crawl the hands a hand print or so forward, tuck the toes under and send the hips up and back on an exhaling breath. And for this first downward dog, you might like to pedal through the feet. You may like to adjust the position of your feet if your lower back is feeling particularly tender. It might feel nice to walk the feet just a little bit closer towards your hands. Maybe take the feet a little wider apart on your mat. Check in with the shoulders. Maybe downward dog isn't even really on your menu today, and instead you want to stick with a tabletop or even find some rest in silence. All possibilities are there. So let's find a different way of moving in our downward dog than we've done before. So you might like to walk the toes in just a wee bit closer towards center, towards one another. So the toes don't have to touch, but then we'll bring them a little closer. And then we'll pivot through the balls of the feet and then drop the heels over towards the left side. So we're kind of like doing this half squat. So really breathing into the right side of the body. If you need to sneak a peek up at what I'm doing, hopefully I'm explaining it okay. And then we'll take a big breath in and then pivot through the feet, lift the heels, come back through center. And this time we'll exhale the heels to the right side of the mat, bend the knees. So pressing down through the left palm, you're feeling that big stretch through the left side of the body. And we'll do this a few more times. So as we inhale, come on up through center, pivot through the feet. As you exhale, drop the heels to the left. Inhale your way back through center. Exhale, heels drop to the right, bend the knees. Then a couple more times each side, just finding the breath, that just right amount of movement. And if this doesn't feel good for your knees or hips or what have you, you're not obliged to follow along. Find what feels good for you. Next time that the heels drop over towards the right, we'll go ahead and return ourselves to our standard downward dog. Maybe walk the feet just a little bit wider apart. We'll take a big breath in and lift the hips and heels. On the exhale, bend the knees, look to the hands, and then walk the feet forward. Keep the knees nice and soft. Take a breath in, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise up, reach up, big full breath in. And if it feels okay for your shoulders, we can find our Kali Mudra again. So interlacing the fingers. So right thumb goes over top of the left. If it feels better to have your hands down rather than overhead, that's okay. We're going to find a little side bend here. So notice if you need to adjust your feet. We're going to take a big breath in, press down through the right foot. And as you exhale, lean over towards the left. Yeah, right foot, left. Yeah, you got it. I am mirroring you tonight, and it's okay if you're not following the mirror. We'll do both sides so it all works out. Breathe in, come on back up. Press down through the left foot, exhale, lean to the right. You got it. Breathing into the side body, relaxing that top shoulder, nice. Come on back up on the inhale. Exhale, bring the hands down. All right, you might like to give your hands just a little shake, your arms a little shake out. We're going to find our way kind of going all the way around our mat this evening. So this is sort of a mandala flow, so a circular flow. We're going to start out finding our chair pose, though, and we're going to add in our eagle arm. So you might remember this from last week. So as you take a breath in, sink the hips down, reach the arms up. And then take the arms nice and wide on the next breath in. And with your exhaling breath, swoop the right arm underneath the left. So you can either stop here with the bear hug position, or you can reach the hands up, or maybe interlace the hands, what feels good for you. Can you imagine that block between the inner thighs, strengthening the outer hips, focusing on the breath, weight in the heels. Good. Next breath in, press into the feet, rise up, reach out, and drop the hands down. Notice if you'd like to reposition your feet, because we're going to do that on the other side. So let's go ahead and sink the hips down, bend the knees, reach forward, breath in, and reach the arms out. Exhale to swoop the left arm underneath. So we've got our bear hug, our half eagle tied up, fully tied up. Focus a little on your feet. Press down through the heels, through the balls of the feet. Good. Outer hips squeezing in, inner thighs pressing down. Breath is focused and strong. Beautiful. With that inhaling breath, straighten out, reach. All right, so let's find our hands together in our prayer position. And we'll just kind of draw the shoulders down away from the ears. As you press the palms together, notice that the core begins to engage. And what we're going to do is slowly shift our weight into our left foot. And then we're going to pick the right heel up and see if we can step our way back into a warrior one. So take your time to get there. Good. And then when it feels right, reach the arms up, maybe straighten through the leg on a breath in as you reach up. Keep the chest lifted as you exhale. Sink back down. Notice if you'd like to do that a time or two more. Maybe wiggle that left foot a little more towards the left, or adjust the angle of the back foot so that when the front knee bends, we settle down into that supportive triangle. You don't feel like the joints are being torqued. Everybody's happy. Good. So let's go ahead and find a little bit of a chest expansion here. So palms forward, big breath in, exhale, elbows out to the side like you're finding some resistance. Okay, stay here, or inhale to draw the elbows back even more. Lift the heart forward. Maybe a slight uplifting gaze, if that feels okay for your neck. Good. With that next breath in, let's straighten the legs and reach the arms up. We're going to pivot through the left foot and pivot through the right foot to make ourselves in this wide-legged stance. And we're going to turn that into goddess pose. So we're going to pull the heels in towards one another. You can take your hands to your waist and sink the hips down a little and maybe do a little rock side to side. Again, just getting that just right placement of the knees and the feet. Good. We'll settle down into stillness here. Good. So feel the tailbone pulling down, lower ribs pulling in, chest lifting up, shoulders rolling back. Option to keep the hands on the waist if that feels like a better supportive place, or you can bring the hands in front of you as if you're holding a ball in front of you. And as you inhale, sweep the arms out and over, and the fingertips will touch at the top. And as you exhale, it's like you're pressing the air down. And let's do that 4 more times. So inhaling, reaching out and up. Exhaling. That breath in is that invitation, and the breath out is a release. 2 more times. See if you can really pull the tailbone down. Good. Last time. Good. This time as we reach the arms up, let's straighten through the legs, and then we're going to turn and pivot towards the back of the mat. So left toes are going to point forward, right toes point forward, and we're here in our warrior one position again. So maybe wiggling the foot out to the right, reaching the arms overhead, finding a pulse on the exhale, and inhale to lift up. Exhale again, sinking the hips down. This is our opportunity to fine-tune the position of that back foot angle, to position the right foot a little more towards the right so we don't feel wobbly. And then we exhale to sink into that stable foundation of our warrior one. So we feel that we're pressing down through the outer edge of the left foot, pressing down through the entire sole of the right foot. And then we'll turn the palms forward, big breath in. Exhale, take the elbows out to the side, find a bit of resistance. Good, stay here or inhale again to press the elbows back, lift the chest up. Maybe a little bit of a gaze shift towards that point where the ceiling and wall meet. So not too high up. And we find our breath. Good. One more full breath in here. And with the exhale, take the hands to the waist, shift them weight into that right foot, and step the left foot forward to meet the right. You may like to give the legs a little bit of a shake. And this is when you get to be the yoga instructor at the front of the class, and I am the student at the back. All right, so we're gonna find our way in our mountain pose. So Tadasana, feet that comfortable distance apart. Sink the weight into the heels. Maybe put a micro bend in the knees as you feel the navel pull back towards the spine. Press the tailbone down towards the floor as you press into the feet and lengthen up. Just feel that lift, rebounding all the way up through to the crown of the head. Shoulders are pulling back away from the ears. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the palms together in that Anjali Mudra. So Palms touching in prayer. Lift the chest up towards the thumbs. Press the palms together. Feel that engagement through your core. This time we're going to shift the weight into the right foot. Peel the left heel away. Step back a little further, setting up for warrior two. Toe touches down, foot pivots, and then we can go ahead and wiggle that right foot. So maybe the heel and the back arch align. We can reach the right arm forward, left arm back. On a breath in, straighten the leg, reach the arm up. Exhale, arms come back to parallel to the floor as we bend into the knee. And just finding a few more pulses like that. Just again, this opportunity to fine tune the position of our legs for the comfort of our joints. Settling into the breath. Letting go of how this shape might be perfect in outward appearance, and instead focus on how it's perfect on internal sensation. Settle into that warrior two. Good. Feel the outer edge of the back foot pressing down. Strong inner left thigh, strong right thigh. Steady breath as we look out over the right middle finger. We're going to turn this into a bit of a flow. Again, two things at once. So as we inhale this time, we're going to straighten the right leg, reach the right arm up, and as we exhale, reach the left hand back. So reverse triangle. Good. As you exhale, come back to your warrior two. Good. So inhale, straighten the leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Exhale, warrior two. 3 more times on your pacing with your breath. So feeling a little expansion through the side body, that strength and stability through the feet, through the legs. This next time that you come up and find that reverse triangle, keep the legs straight, but come up so the arms are reaching front to back. We're going to head into our Trikonasana. We're not worrying about using the blocks. We're making this the deepest side body stretch ever. So let's imagine that we're stepping on the gas with the right big toe. We're reaching the arms in opposition. We're reaching the crown up, and on the exhale, pull the right hip back, reach forward. Maybe we take another breath where we extend and lengthen out through the spine, and the exhale, we can pull the right hip back a bit more. So your right hand might come to the shin, it might come to the thigh, the left arm might reach up towards the ceiling. Variations abound here. If you want to turn this into a side core workout, then you can reach the right arm forward, or you can find that the palm of the right hand reaches towards the opposite wall, and the back of the hand and inner right thigh find a little resistance, and you can open up, almost like a really open twist with your triangle pose. Beautiful. Focus on that breath. Awesome. With your next inhaling breath, go ahead and rebend that right knee, returning to warrior two. Yeah. Straighten that leg again, pivot through the foot. And now we're in a wide-legged forward fold position, Prasarita Padottanasana. So we can either take the hands to the waist and draw the elbows back and find a back bend this way, or interlace the hands behind the back if that feels workable and doable for you. You might like to bend into the knees to really get that sense of the tailbone dropping down, and then press down through feet to straighten through the legs, lift the heart up, big breath in, exhale, hinge at the hips, fold your way forward. If it feels too unsteady to have the hands away from the floor, you're always welcome to release the hands down. If it feels like the hamstrings are really tight, a slight bend in the knee can help alleviate that. If the shoulders feel really tight, maybe instead of clasping the hands, you come to hands on the waist, draw the elbows towards one another, or maybe the thumbs rest on the sacrum. Can you let your head drop down? Maybe shake gently, no. Very gentle, yes. Letting the weight of the head provide some traction for the neck. Good. Slight bend in the knees, reach back through the elbows, and on an inhale, slowly rise yourself back up. Release the hands. We're going to pivot through the left foot, so turning our way forward again into our warrior two. So adjusting the feet to either the left, right, front, or back. Reach the left arm forward, right arm reaching back. Exhale to bend in. Inhale, straighten the legs. If you like, you can reach the arms up too. We'll just go ahead and find those pulses and fine tune the position of the feet and legs so that once we do finally settle into that stable foundation of our warrior two, joints are happy. Settling in now, feeling the outer right foot press into the floor, feeling that engagement through the outer left hip and thigh, really reaching the arms away from one another, looking out over the left middle finger. That's our drishti, our focal point. And then we'll find that flow of our reverse triangle and warrior. So on the inhaling breath, reach up, straighten the leg, and reach over. And then exhale, we come back to warrior two. So inhaling, exalted triangle, reverse triangle. Exhaling, warrior two. 3 more times on your breath. Good. Feeling that solid foundation beneath the feet. Lengthening through the side body. We'll come into that exalted triangle. Stay for a moment. Press down through the left big toe. Rise the torso up. Reach the arms parallel to the floor. And we'll head into our triangle pose. So as you press down through the feet, we rebound, lift up through the crown. Exhale, pull the left hip back. Keep the spine nice and long. Press and reach again. Exhale. And we'll come to the shin, the knee, the thigh. Right arm might reach up. We have all those variations. So maybe we reach the left arm forward if we really want to engage through the right side waist. Maybe the palm of the left hand faces the opposite wall. Back of the hand presses on the inseam of the left leg, providing a little resistance to allow a little depth through that wingspan. Always focusing on the breath. Beautiful, so strong. Nice. With that next inhaling breath, bend into the knee. Warrior two. Take the hands to the waist. Maybe a little bunny hop or two. And we've made it back to where we began. All right. So if you need to have a little sip of water, now would be an awesome time to do that. We're just going to find a little balance pose before we make our way down to the floor. So one of my favorite is tree pose, just for its simplicity, but also because you can be a little creative with it. So if you want to use your block, you can bring it closer to your feet. I like to start with the palms together, and as I press the palms, the chest lifts, the core engages, shoulders relax. Let's shift our way into the right foot, peel the left heel away. Toe can stay tapping down. You can turn it out, or you can lift the foot up to the lower calf. Or if you're feeling spunky, you can reach down and bring it all the way up to the inner thigh. I don't think I have that spunk today. And then you have all these choices. So maybe we want to take Kali Mudra, invite in that inner strength and conviction. Maybe we want to reach the arms overhead. Maybe they want to stay down. Your tree might be swaying in the wind. You might like to play with your balance a bit and maybe find a little side bend in your tree. So reaching the left arm towards the left leg, reaching the right arm up and over. Nice. And then coming out nice and slow. Bring the arms back up, knee forward, foot down, hands down, and maybe a little shake of that standing leg. Awesome. Okay, let's see if we can do the other side. So, and know that the other side doesn't have to be a mirror image of what we just did on the right side. So take your time, bring the palms together, lift the sternum up towards the thumbs, draw the shoulders back. Really feel that standing leg foot pressing down and that rebounding lifting up. Lift the right heel, knee out to the side. This might be the toe tap down side. Or maybe this is the side where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bring that foot all the way up to my thigh. You can keep your hands in prayer, take Kali, reach overhead, play with it, have fun. Challenge your balance in a way that feels fun for you. Maybe we take it into that side bend, letting the right arm drop down and left arm reach over. Maybe that just feels like too much for this side, and we don't. We've got that courage to follow through and do what's best for us. When it feels just right, let's make our way out, coming up, foot down, and a little shake. All right. So let's find our way to the top of our mat. We'll find our way into pigeon pose or variations via a sun salutation. So when we get to our downward dog, I'll guide you from there to find what feels best for you. So if you like to have a block for underneath one of your hips, have it within reach. So mountain pose. Feel the feet pressing down. Crown of the head lifting up. Shoulders are soft. Abdomen engaged. Big breath in. Sweep the arms out, up and over. As you exhale, fold it forward. Halfway lift on the inhale. Hands all the way down on the exhale. Step the feet back one at a time into that high plank. Remember, knees down, half plank is perfectly fine. Feel the crown of the head reaching forward. Goes back through the heels. Lift the inseams of the thighs. 2 more breaths here. And then we're going to make our way down, exhaling to hug the elbows in. Lower all the way to the belly. Point back through the toes, and we'll find 3 cobra pulses. So as you press into the feet, think of the shoulders lifting the chest on that breath in and flowing back down on the breath out. Coming up with the in-breath, pressing into the tops of the feet to keep the legs active and supported. And then this next time, our 4th lift up, we're going to stay. So just see where it feels like a good place to be. If you're really pressing into the hands and using your arms to lift your chest away, see if you can recruit the upper back muscles. Press into the tops of the feet. Option to stay in your baby cobra or slide the hands back so they're truly lined up with the sides of the chest. Pull the elbows in, press a little stronger into the tops of the feet, and maybe the knees and hips lift away into our upward facing dog. Definitely a lot more effort. And then we'll come back down all the way. Take the elbows out to the side, stack the hands. Let your forehead rest on your hands or the floor if that feels better. You might like to just give your lower back a little love, maybe a little rock side to side of the hips, or maybe kicking the heels up and letting the windshield wiper side to side. So give yourself another moment here to find some movement, some release, letting go of any tension that may have developed in the lower back or upper back or the lower belly or any other area. Then just bring your feet back down to the floor, take them a comfortable distance apart. Take 3 full breaths here, really allowing the fullness of the breath to accentuate that pressure of the abdomen on the floor. And that exhaling breath is an invitation for softness through the jaw, through the shoulders, down through the torso, down through the hips, into the legs. Winding down our practice, finding that support of the earth underneath our hands, our head, our body. Moving very slowly, we'll lift the head up again, bring the hands back in line with the chest. Tuck the toes under on an inhale, lift all the way up to half plank or full plank, and exhale your way back to downward dog. So we have folks that absolutely love the pigeon pose and folks that absolutely hate the pigeon pose, and some that are kind of halfway in between. So if you would like to take a different variation than putting weight on that front knee, drop your knees down and come to seated. If you would like to take that regular variation of pigeon pose, bring the right knee towards the right wrist and walk the left foot back. You might like to take that block and place it underneath the right hip. If the back knee feels like it's getting squished, try tucking the toes, or you can scooch your sweater underneath. So if you start out and that feels okay, go with it. You can stay upright or you can fold your way forward. If you start out and it doesn't feel okay, you can switch to that seated variation. So picking the right ankle up, crossing over the left, either leaning back or laying all the way back as you bring the left thigh closer to the body. Good. So in this moment, we're approaching this as nurturing our body, letting go of effort, letting go of striving to be a contortionist, to be a gymnast, to be 6 years old, showing off your gymnastics moves to your auntie and asking her if she can do that too. No, she can't do that too. She can do lots of things, but not that. So you might like to take a few rounds of breath where you breathe in deeply through the nose and let it out through pursed lips. So this is our beak breath, kaki breath. And that action of extended exhale through pursed lips. So the activation of the facial muscles as well as that extension of the breath sends a signal to our vagus nerve that we are winding down and heading from our active state to our rest and digest, relaxation response. When it feels just right for you to come out of the posture, let's do so slowly. So lifting the torso up, maybe setting the hips up and back, maybe setting that right leg back in a tabletop or a down dog, maybe a donkey kick or two if you opted for that seated variation, maybe taking the feet wide as your mat and just letting the knees go side to side. Maybe you've got a different way of moving that would feel good for you before we find our way into our left side of our pigeon. So when it feels right for you, the left knee comes forward or the left ankle crosses over top of the right knee. And we're either finding that seated variation, the upright variation, the leaning forward variation. What feels good for you? Take your time. Offer yourself all the supports you need to make this feel really comfortable for your body. One of the other tenets of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras is Sthira Stukha Asanam, which means find a comfortable seat in your postures. So comfort is right there. So we can let go of striving, forcing, pulling, and instead settle into ease, softness, support. So give yourself any little micro adjustments to allow yourself to become slightly more comfortable. So we do have that slight discomfort of finding a deep stretch, not to be mistaken with pain. Slight discomfort, we can still find that nice smooth quality of our breath. Pain sends that danger signal to our body, and the breath isn't smooth anymore. We feel really fidgety and really uncomfortable. And just like we did on the other side, you might like to take a few breaths using that pursed lip technique to breathe out. This is our beak breath, kaki breath. Inviting in that wind that sends the energy downward, that downward energy, apana. Again, sending messages to the body. Settle in. Know that you're in a safe place, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, energetically. And then we take our time to exit the posture on your own time, in your own way. And allowing yourself to move in any way that feels really nurturing for you. So that might look like that tabletop or down dog. Maybe a donkey kick or two with the left leg. Maybe it's letting the knees drop side to side and seated. Maybe it's a different way. And what feels good for you. And if you are in a downward dog or in a tabletop position, drop the knees down and roll over till you find a seated position. And we're going to make our way down onto our backs, and we'll have a block with us when we get down there. You will probably cool down a bit once we stop moving. So you might like to put your sweater and socks on. We did warm up nicely in here, but it's always nice to have a little extra insulation when we're on a over 100-year-old floor with dirt underneath it. Mm-hmm. So any old way you want to get down to the mat, make your way down there. And we'll all meet with the knees bent, laying on our back, making sure that the ponytails and whatnot are out of the way so that the back of the head is resting comfortably on the mat. And you might like to press the backs of the arms into the floor just to give the chest a slight lift up. And then just let the spine kind of ease back down into that comfortable position. Check that your head feels comfortable as well. So we're going to find this supine twist with a couple of variations. So if your lower back is feeling a bit tender, you might like to just wiggle your feet a little closer together and just let the knees drop over towards the left. Maybe that block is there to catch underneath the left thigh. If you want to take it into a little bit of a deeper outer hip stretch, we can pick the right foot up and then maybe stop with the ankle crossing over the outside edge of the left knee and then go over, or maybe we want a really deep stretch and sit cross-legged and then take the knees over. So get your legs in whatever position feels like the best option for you tonight. And so as I mentioned to my class this morning, the block doesn't necessarily have to be like straight up and down. You can actually place it on an angle. So there's just the bottom corner that's on the floor. And as long as you've got the weight and it's not too much of an angle, 45 degrees is sort of like the maximum. Then you can usually find that place where you can wedge it in and just let the knees lean as you like. And then you can bring the arms into whatever position that feels good. So it might be in that capital letter T, it might be with cactus arms. Find that perfect position for your neck, maybe lifting the head up slightly, turning your gaze to look towards the right hand, and then letting the head come back down. Notice if that left shoulder is really lifted high off the floor. If you could bring your arm a little closer to your body, does it take some stress away from that left shoulder? Do you have an extra block that maybe you could prop underneath the back of the left arm so you can take some of that strain out of the shoulder joint? What are some things that you can do in this supine twist to find a little more comfort? A really nice stretch, a little wringing out, if you will, of the spine like a dish rag. Just allowing your breath to settle into an easy rhythm and pace. Coming back to just noticing the breath as it comes in and out of the body. Noticing that Subtle expansion through the abdomen and ribs and collarbones as you breathe in. That subtle contraction through the collarbones, ribs, and abdomen as you breathe out. I'll take another 3 breaths here. And to exit the posture, we'll use the exhaling breath to encourage the knees to lift up towards center. Maybe uncross the legs if we cross them. You might like to just pause for a moment, hugging the knees in towards the chest. And then we can set ourselves up for the other side. If you found the block to be helpful, then you can bring it over to the right side of your mat. And just like before, we've got all these different ways to do this. So bringing the toes a little closer together, letting the knees drop over towards the right, so legs side by side stacked, or maybe finding that figure 4 and then letting the leg cross over, or maybe crossing the left leg completely over the right and then letting the knees lean over towards the right. Find a way that works best for you. And while we would love for the body to be perfectly symmetrical, it just doesn't ever work out that way. So accommodate this side to find as much comfort as you found on the other side, or maybe even more. So finding the arms in whatever shape feels good, that capital letter T, more of a Y. Maybe bringing that arm a little closer to the body if the right shoulder really feels very lifted away from the floor. You can pick the head up and turn to look towards the left hand if that feels okay for your neck, letting the head rest back again. Give yourself some time to fine-tune the position of your body, the position of your head, your neck, your shoulders, your torso, your hips, your knees, your feet. Our goal here is to just find a really nice outer hip stretch, some lengthening through the torso, a little spinal twist, and some space through the front parts of the shoulders into the pectoral muscles above the chest. Maybe a little relaxation through the neck. And we'll stay here for another 3 breaths or so. And when it feels just right for you, that exhaling breath, bringing the knees back up through to center, uncrossing the legs, and giving yourself that little hug in, our Apanasana, wind relieving pose. Maybe finding some rocks through the hips side to side, or taking the hands to the knees and finding circular motions, lower back massage, sacral clock, going both directions, clockwise and counterclockwise. Giving yourself whatever you need. Just settle in for your Shavasana. And making your way into your preferred shape for Shavasana. Knowing that laying down doesn't have to be the shape that you take. Laying on your back doesn't have to be the shape you take. You can lay on your side, you can sit. You can pull your mat to the wall and throw your legs up the wall. You get a little toasty buns tonight because I can hear the heater on. So that might feel really nice, actually. And to find that perfect position for your feet. So maybe it's taking your feet as wide as the mat, leaning the knees towards one another, and just letting the weight of the knees leaning into each other. Find some release for the lower back. Maybe it's that starfish position with the legs. Find that perfect place for your arms, close to your body or farther away from your body, maybe even touching your body. Notice if you'd like to adjust the position of your head for the comfort of your neck. Bless you. Let's just begin to settle in to this final resting posture. So this Shavasana is that final rest where we take our time to integrate our physical practice. It's our asana, the second limb, and our pranayama, the third limb, our breath. And maybe we touched on all of the tenets of how to live a yogic life, beginning with some kindness, finding our way on that path, we're letting go. Find some softness through the face, around the edges of the eyes, along the forehead, temples and jaw, maybe even the tongue softening. Traveling that awareness down through the neck and into the shoulders with that next breath out, just letting go of any residual tension, tightness, or holding through the shoulders, letting the shoulders drop down towards the earth. Feel the weight of your arms, the softness of your palms. As you focus on the breath, notice that expansion once more through the length of the torso. And that gentle contraction through the length of the torso as you breathe out. And as you settle deeper and deeper into the sense of being held, breath becomes a little more shallow, movement of the breath in the body a little more subtle. Notice the glutes softening, the hips, the thighs, calves, softening, settling in, letting go of any tension, tightness, or holding. Shifting into a sense of allowing yourself to be held, to be supported. As we settle into Shavasana, some words to ponder. One of my favorite poems by Reverend Sapphire Rose called She Let Go. She let go without a thought or a word. She let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely without hesitation or worry. She just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let it go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all of the calculations on how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her day timer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was. And it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her. And the sun and the moon shone forevermore. I'll leave you in silence for about a minute. I'll ring the tingsas 3 times when it's time to come back. Becoming aware of your breath, allowing it to lengthen and deepen, to fill you up and empty you out. Notice the parts of their body that are feeling called to move or not. This movement or not movement. The movement can be large or small. And once you've felt that movement that needed to be made has been made, take your time to slowly go to your side, either your left or your right. And your body intuitively will send you in the right direction. And then when it feels just right to you, take your time to slowly make your way upright. Know that there is no rush. There is no urgency. Allow yourself to savor that feeling of restfulness. We'll find that comfortable seat once more. Bring the palms together in our Anjali Mudra one more time. And the invitation is there to either join in or just sit and receive. We'll end class with the chanting of one Om. Let's take a big breath in. Nice long breath out. Big breath in. Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone. You're welcome. Now, I have cards for you here, so come to them now. And I'll read one for, this one fell, so I feel like it's meant for me to open and share. So they're little pop open cards, and it says, "We are all wanderers of this earth. Our hearts are full of wonder, and our souls are deep with dreams." Aww. So beautiful messages. All right, thanks for joining. Okay, I'm gonna hit stop recording.